my lovelies, I'm going to make fish for tea. We're going to have chipotle, salmon and Mexican green rice. But we're not having salmon. We're going to have something else. I've got some other fish, but we're having fish. But I'm not going to do it with salmon, I'm going to do it with something else. And there's a few other things because I couldn't get blimmin' watercress. So I'm going to, and I couldn't get any coriander. Bloody Lidl's let me down. So I'm going to substitute those things for something else, as you do. So to begin, I will get my ingredients out and I will come back to you. Right, so I'm just going to show you what I have got ingredients wise for this supper tonight. So I've got some of this bass fillets and I got these from Lidl's. They were on a special offer and I think I paid £1.79 for these. It was so cheap, unbelievably cheap. So it's skinless and boneless apparently, and half a pack is 211 calories. So should be having those tonight, along with some other very tasty ingredients. So you get, it looks like, 3. These two are stuck together. There we go. So you get 3 bits of fish for your £1.75 or whatever it was, something like that. Along with that, you are going to need a lemon, some chillies. I've got one of these, it says a green pepper, absolutely despise green pepper. So I've got one of these really sweet and juicy red ones. And I've got some spring onions. I've got some of these that need using up, and Jason really loves these, so I'm just going to pop a few of those as a garnish. And then you need some tamarind sauce. Now I got this from Lidl's, they've got this currently at the moment in their Lidl stores. And you're going to need some chipotle. I haven't got any chipotle, but I've got some hot chilli sauce, so I'll use a little bit of that. This is going to be a little bit of a spicy one, guys, so yeah, hold on to your hat. Some fry light. And it said cress, don't have cress, so I'm going to use what's this stuff, spinach. It said cress and watercress. Well, I haven't got either of those. I've got spinach, so good old Popeye, going to use some spinach. And I'm sure that's probably better for you. Full of iron. So, to start with, what am I going to do? I have got to put some of my ingredients into a bowl. So I need to get some lemon, and it's saying that I need the juice of a lime. Well, I'm not using a lime, I prefer lemon, so I'm going to use lemon. So I'm just going to squeeze the juice of 1 lemon. Got some lovely pips going on in there as well. Honestly, when will they invent a pipless fruit? Like lemons and oranges. And grapes. Grapes! Tiny little grape with blooming pips in them, honestly. So excuse me while I get my pips out. I've got about 10 in here. In that 1 lemon. I should really get one of those lemon squeezes, because then I wouldn't have that problem, would I? Right, I'm going to keep those because I always give the sink a bit of a wash out with those. I take the bowl out of the sink and then I clean the sink around with these before I chuck them out. And then make the sink smell nice, make it smell all lemony and clean it. Right, so that's the lemon. Then we need 2 level teaspoons of the chipotle paste. What's that? That's a teaspoon. So there's 1. Ooh. That's it. 2. And you also need your tamarind. You need a half level tablespoon of tamarind. So let me just I thought I'd put that in there. there last night. Oh, here it is. Tablespoon. I said tablespoon, didn't I? Yeah. Half a level tablespoon. Oh, for God's sake. Right. Okay. So, then it says you need to put that on your fish. So I'm going to get myself something that I can cook the fish in, as well as right. I've got this. I know it's big, but these pieces of fish are long, such as. So that is a bit of an overkill, isn't it? Unless I can find my. No. Okay, let's do that. We'll put them in there. Right. As organised as ever. Oh my days. Everything's falling out. Right, so this will shrink down this fish anyway. So I have got to pour my pour over my fish. Now I'm using frozen fish, but you could use defrosted fish, and this would marinate a lot better if it wasn't frozen. But it will still take on some of those flavours, because they are very strong flavours. So I'm just going to set that aside for 1 minute, like so, while I get on and do the rest of my bits and pieces. So let's tidy this up. Now you have to make like a green paste to go in your rice. So I've got some rice on the hob here, cooking, and I have to keep putting it on because I think I've explained before, now I've got a gas hob, I haven't got the heat to continue cooking my rice like you get from a conventional oven, hob top. So what I do is I sort of let it heat up, and then I turn it off, and then I give it a while, and then I let it heat. It's all a bit, yeah. Anyway, such is life. So meanwhile, what I need to do for the rice is put the coriander, the watercress, the chilli, the garlic, the onion in a food processor and blitz to a smooth puree. So I've got that. I'm going to get some of this. Chuck it in there. And then I'm going to add some, what have I got? Spring onions, a couple of spring onions, 2 cloves of garlic, yet to get that out. And I think you put the chilies in at this stage. I think that might be a bit much. We'll go with it. I know it's going to be a bit much. So I'm just going to top and tail my spring onions. Take off this outer bit because that's a bit minging. Sometimes you can get away with it and you don't need to remove it, but these are a little bit old, so I would suggest taking it off. And then I'm just going to chop those up, just roughly. Put those in with that. And then to that I'm going to put in a couple of cloves of garlic. And I think I'm probably just going to pop them in. Oh. Less haste. Oh, lordy. number 2. And so you need, I'm just going to turn that rice off a minute. Onions, garlic, watercress and chilli. So how much chilli? You need 1 green chilli, deseeded and quartered. So depending how hot you want this, you know how hot you like it. Whether you put the seeds in, whether you put a red one in or a green one, it's up to you. I'm going to go with what they say because I'm a bit of a wuss and I don't particularly like it too hot. I like a bit of heat, don't get me wrong. Jace absolutely loves things, so it blows your head off. I can't see the point of it, quite frankly. But I'll tell you a story about chilli. My eldest, he probably doesn't remember this. I hope he doesn't remember this story. When he was about 4, he came in to me and I was cooking chilli and I looked at him and I went, oh my God, look at the state of you. What have you got all around your face? And he looked at me and laughed and he'd been eating chocolate or something and I grabbed the cloth like this, dishcloth, which I'd forgotten I had wiped up the unit from after cutting up chilli, and I wiped my son's face. Poor little bugger, honestly, he was like a Belisha beacon, bright red. He couldn't understand why all of a sudden his face was on fire. I was like, oh my God, what have I done to him? So I got him on the side and he was crying and I was trying to wipe it off and I thought, no, don't wipe it off with that. It's got bloody chilli on it. So I got some paper towel, wiped it, and then I thought, yoghurt. So I got out some yoghurt, and I'm slapping yoghurt all over his face. Bless him. I haven't mentioned that story to him. I feel a bit mean. I don't know if he still remember. I don't know if he remembers it or not. Poor little devil. I remember it. I felt really mean. I felt rotten. I did. Rotten mother. Right, so do you have to put any water in this to make it blitz? It's not going to blitz very well, is it, without... Yes. Adding 250 mils of water. I thought so, because otherwise it's going to be a bit heavy hard work, isn't it? Right, so 250 mils. Oh, I can't see these things. Where are we? Oh, a bit more than that. Right, I'm just going to put a little bit in to start with. And we'll go with that. Now I haven't got a proper one. This is just like what you make. It's like a NutriBullet, which I use. It does make a heck of a noise. So... you are going to need something to blend up this stuff. Right, it's going to be noisy. Now I know from did that smoke? From experience of Slimming World recipes, not always to put in what they say. Now I didn't put all that in. I've still got, it was up to 250 and I've still got 100 mils of water, and to me that is liquid enough. You don't want any more liquid than that. It's supposed to be a paste, it says. No, even mine's a bit more than a paste. That's not a paste, it's a bit watery, but yeah, had I put all that in, we'd have been drinking it. So, just put a little bit in, and then, you know, see where you get to with it. So, what you have to do then is you need to stir fry your rice and peppers for 2 to 3 minutes, and then you stir in your puree and cook for a minute or so, and then add another 250 ml of water and bring to the boil. Then reduce and heat on low. Cover and simmer for 12 to 15 minutes. Remove from the heat and leave to rest. Covered for a further 10 to 12 minutes. What a fag! I ain't doing all that. Right, so what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. I can't be bothered with that. Right, so I'm going to chop up some of this sweet pepper. Then I'm going to get my fish that's been marinating, and I'm going to pop that in. Just going to turn this rice on again with the fish. I've been really hungry today. I've had one of those days where I just want to eat, and I haven't had one of those days for a while, and I ended up taking it back to work because I come home at lunchtime, and I had a sandwich thin, and I had it with ham and cucumber, and I think that's why I wanted to eat, because I think once I start eating stuff like that, then it almost makes me hungry more, rather than just having my salad or something like that. So it's not good for me, bread, really, I've decided. Right, so I've got all my pepper in there going on. Now you could add some other bits and pieces to this if you wanted to, whatever you've got in your cupboard really. So what have I got? I've got some chickpeas, I've got some tomatoes, I've got some, what's that? Baked beans. You don't want that. I've got some chickpea dal. Ooh. It's going to make it a bit curry-y. I don't really want to put that in, I don't think. I don't think I've got any butter beans. I thought I had loads of butter beans. God. Yay, butter beans. So, I'm going to put some butter beans in mine to make it, bulk it out a little bit. And I think I'll strain them. I won't put the juice in with them. So I'll strain off the liquid. And then add the butter beans. If you don't like butter beans, then put what you do like in there. You know, like chickpeas or lentils. That would be nice. You got a tin of lentils? I did try to look for lentils in Lidl's, but all they had was the orange split pea lentils, the dried ones. So I did buy those, but what I was after, you can buy lentils in a can, and that's what I wanted, but they didn't have any, so that was the end of that. Right, so we are nearly there. I think I'm just going to check my rice. Oh, yeah, that's done. My water has all evaporated. Lovely. So there's my rice. Then what I'm going to do is get my paste, my green paste. So pretty. Look how pretty that is. And add it to my rice. Give it a stir. That's such a pretty colour. Look at that. We went to a Filipino restaurant last year. My dad came with us before my dad died. He was a bit poorly actually the night we went, but he came, bless him. And we had green rice. It's the first time I've ever had it. And now I've made it. How pretty is that? Looks lovely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my green rice to my dish. And then I'm going to put the remainder of my, how much do they say? They don't. So they probably do, but I'm just being impatient. So I'm going to pour water over my rice and my fish. Like so. I'm going to give it a bit of seasoning. Can you see that? I'll see it, can you? Sorry. I'm going to give it some seasoning, some salt. And a little bit of pepper. Then I've got these little cherry babies. Just going to pop a few of them on. Get my oven on. Be a good idea, wouldn't it? And then I'm going to bake this in the oven 25 minutes. Like that. So there we go. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to cover it. Oh, let's get this bloody oven going. Honestly. This oven is a right pain in the butt. Right, and I'm going to cover it. And like I said, I'm going to put it in the oven for about 25 minutes to half an hour. And then I'll come back and we'll have a little look and a taste test and see what we think. Right, so I've had a good look at this and it's looking really good. Here it is. Doesn't look much different from when it went in, to be honest with you. It's still very green and pretty. But what I'm going to now do is just make it a little bit more interesting and just take it up another level. And I'm just going to sprinkle on some grated mozzarella on top. Not a lot. There we go. And I'm going to leave that off now and I'm going to pop it back in the oven for about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. And I'll come back in a minute. Right, so I've got my frying pan on and I've spray lighted. What's the word? Yeah. Spray lighted. That didn't sound right. My pan. And I've got some mushrooms. We love mushrooms. So we're going to have the mushrooms as an accompaniment to our fish. I was going to do salad, but quite frankly, I'm getting a bit fed up with salad. We've had a lot of salad this week. So I'm going to do some garlic mushrooms to go with these. Now I'm just going to season these quite well. And then I've got my new garlic press, which I haven't used yet. Hopefully it will work alright. Yeah. And I'm putting 3 big cloves of garlic in there because I want them to taste quite garlicky. You just won't have to speak to anyone tomorrow. Just like talk like that. So that's that one in there. And then, as per usual, what I would suggest is you get yourself a little bit of foil, which I took off the fish. And pick up my garlic, and then I can throw that away without it sticking my bin out. Hate it when you come down the next day and all you can smell in the kitchen is garlic. Oh, God, it's horrible. Right, so I've got some water on the go as well, and I'm going to put a couple of eggs in there in a minute. So let's just get these mushrooms going. God, they smell good. Put a bit more spray light in there. Love garlic mushrooms. I used to work in a pub as a cook, and it was a country pub, and the most ordered thing on the menu was we used to do like this big thick wedge of granary seeded bread, like a homemade bread. And used to cut it like a big doorstop and toast it under the grill because it was too thick to go in the toaster. And then to that used to cook up garlic and bacon and mushrooms, and then lots of butter, of course. And then you put the big crusty doorstop on a plate, and then about that much mushrooms for one person. Pour that over. And that was one of our top sellers. Bloody lovely it was. On a bit of parsley, chopped up with the garlic butter. Bloody lovely. And whenever I cook garlic mushrooms, it always reminds me of when I worked in the pub. Right, so they're nearly done. My water is nearly at boiling point, so I'm going to do a couple of eggs and then I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, so I've dished up my portion of fish, which is there, and my butter beans and my rice, which is looking very pretty. And then what I'm going to do is get myself a spoon. I have poached an egg, which I will take out now. And I'm just gonna, this is optional, but I'm gonna pop that on the top of there. And then I've got some of my mushrooms, which will sit along the side there. And there we have it. There is my Mexican fish. And the phone's ringing. Back in a minute. So there we have it in its glory. So, sorry, the phone rang. I'm just going to cut into my egg, hopefully. Yay! It's nice and runny. And I'm just going to give it a good old taste for you. So, let's find some fish. Oh, that fish is really, really tender. All down there, can you see? So tender. It's beautiful. Really, really is beautiful. Putting that rice on top of that fish has kept it really moist. And that rice is really tasty. It's got a really fresh taste to it. Very nice. It's not hot and spicy. To be honest with you, it could have done with some more heat in there. It's not overly hot at all. I could have put, you know, I think I could have taken two peppers in there quite easily, chilies I mean. That's really tasty, really nice. Lovely. So if you want to give it a go, something a bit different, you know, you might want to do it at the weekend, give yourself a bit more time. But let me know what you think. And let me know what you do with fish, you know. This is something a little bit different, it's a little bit more out there, other than just, you know, sticking it in the oven or breading it. It's just something a little bit different. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget above all, to have a lovely evening. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.